KGRA Digital Broadcasting and Pop Culture Minefield presents Dangerous Military Nerds. Dangerous Military Nerds. They're just like regular nerds, only dangerous.
There you go. Welcome to the show, guys. Of course, we'll give you your little warning. Should I do R-rated or PG-13 warning today? Are we going to try to watch our P's and Q's?
Is there some assumption I'm ever going to do that?
Okay, I'm just going to go with the R-rated or the PG-13 one.
Warning. The following program involves discussions between military veterans. As such, it is almost guaranteed that there will be coarse language and crude subject matter. So if the words piss, fuck, cock, cunt, and shit offend you, this might not be the place for you. Otherwise, enjoy.
Yeah, this movie we're going to talk about may be a somber one, but you better believe there's a good chance I'm going to get good and fucking pissed off at some of the content in this movie. So no P's and Q's here.
Yeah, we can, because like I did a post this morning. I said, after watching the film, I immediately want that freaking Epstein list released. Yeah. We need to know who these animals are. These pieces of shit that are hiding behind their power and money. We need to know who it is.
They're protecting their friends.
I'm sick of the left doing this shit, protecting people. That Meeks guy that for ABC was a correspondent for ABC, a journalist, said that the Pizzagate thing was conspiracy theory. Turns around, he is caught and convicted. He's not convicted yet. He's pled guilty as of today. He officially pled guilty to possessing child pornography.
What a surprise.
Protecting their own. And you know who defended him? Rolling Stone magazine.
Oh, yeah. Were they the ones who started this? Oh my God, all of a sudden I just completely blanked on the name of the movie. Sound of Freedom is a QAnon conspiracy theory.
Oh, of course. Yeah. There are, I'm telling you, there are people in these media groups, these companies, these publishers, these Mediaite organizations. They're part of this problem. They are part of it. Mm-hmm. They're not just shielding other people. They're shielding themselves. Yeah. And if this ever gets exposed, and what shocks me is how the American people don't seem to stand up as a whole, because, that's how this country was founded, is off of us standing up as individuals. But the government is constantly trying to make it sound like we can't do that anymore. We're not allowed to do that. And if that doesn't show how afraid of us they are, because they want to support groups like BLM and Antifa, who are fascist organizations, racist and Marxist organizations. They are founded in Marxist principles. It's not like, they're kind of like, no, they are Marxist organizations.
Yeah, they admit it on television. Mm-hmm. We are trained Marxists. We are tearing down the nuclear family. They're the foot soldiers. They're brainwashed foot soldiers. That's all they are.
Yeah, and we saw in our little group that we're in, all veterans group, where one of the Lead Buster or News Buster channel was talking about that now Gen Z males are starting to go, we don't really want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And are starting to take the red pill.
They said that also when Gen Z first started becoming Gen Z. People were saying this is trending to be the most conservative generation in however long.
I remember that, and it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. And that's not to say that they are conservative. It just means that they're more conservative, which isn't saying much, because kids at a young age will always tend to be on the liberal side, because the liberals, it's an emotional side. You're thinking more emotionally rather than rationally. You don't develop that until later.
It's how I feel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're fucking kids. They're dumb. That's why they want to drop the voting age down to 16, because these kids are fucking nothing but little idiots who think with their bleeding heart rather than any actual rational thought.
Yeah.
And they take advantage of that.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. So you and I've seen the film. I'm going to go see it again this weekend in the theater.
I don't
saw
know
by
how.
other means. I'm going to go see it again with my buddy Travis. Because I just want the full impact, because it broke me down.
Yeah.
And you guys know, and I even argued with myself, this is a different kind of kidnapping. But then I said, no, it's the same kind of kidnapping. It's just for a different reason that the kidnapping takes place, because the parent with the missing kid is going through the same thing, whether it's a family member or somebody, a friend or family member, or somebody that's taking him for other means. It doesn't matter. The kidnapping has a specific impact on parents when their kids are taken. And so I went through that. And so the film triggered a bunch of stuff. I was getting so emotional just in the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Even the first 15 is brutal.
It was so fucking brutal.
Yeah.
And the emotions were just so rough, man. And it took me back. I started having flashbacks, man.
Yeah. Are we going to talk spoilers on this?
Okay.
Are we going to talk spoilers?
Look, man, it's a very simple story. And if you can't figure out by how they're promoting it that he gets the kids, you're not very smart.
No, yeah, I get that. But I mean, it just never hurts to ask. Because
we're seeing it. I'm just letting people know that haven't seen it yet. There's really no major spoiler here. Did you think that the titular character, who's based on a real person who's still going around speaking about this stuff, this is known?
Yeah, but I mean, the reason I ask, because I mean, you never know if there's people who don't want details out there. Because I was going to bring up that even in the beginning of the movie, I even got emotional when I went in the scene when we know what's going on. At least I had already heard about the fact that you have this former beauty queen is the one who is recruiting and stealing these kids initially. So she's in there and she's trying to get this little girl who she saw singing out in the street, and so she was her target. But then her brother walks in. And I remember just that scene when this evil demonic woman just like looked at the son, and that actress was amazing, because the subtlety in her look was like she saw this boy and just saw the double dollar signs, but it was also so evil at the same time, and just like it was truly gut wrenching to see that she's looking at this kid like a piece of meat.
Because there was, at first, I thought maybe they were going to make her out to be a victim herself, because so often victims of that stuff end up working in that field, helping the predators. But the fact is, she's a piece of shit. And I kind of hoped she'd get killed. I really did.
Yeah.
Her and that one dude, I was hoping it did. We do see him take matters into his own hands, though, at one point in the film. And that was probably one of the most... sense of relief is the word I'm looking at. Something for that sense of relief that just, I needed that. I needed to see him kill that motherfucker. And he does.
Which scene is this? I'm blanking on it.
Near the end, in the third act. When
Yes.
And the scorpion, whatever his name is.
His name was the Scorpion.
And he looks at her and he does the exact same thing I did in my book, when he tells the girls in the basement, close your eyes.
Yeah.
And he fucking wastes these guys. And
I never even knew. I thought the end of the movie was going to be the raid on the island, because I had seen the old footage from back in the day where CBS actually reported on it, and all the mainstream media was clapping their hands
at the end of the movie. They showed
but that's so I'm saying is that I saw that, so I'm assuming that's going to be the end of the movie. So when all this other stuff happened, I had to keep on asking, wait, did they add this into the movie, or is this all real too? And I still haven't looked that up, but I'm assuming it must be real. The daughter did get back,
because he's got to get the sister. This is
a
moral, as Val Kilmer would say, a moral imperative.
Dude, the island raid was epic enough, but the fact that he did that in real life, that is something out of an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Well, he had
That's
his
nuts.
team working with him, but he had to go in for the final step. He had to go in by himself, and he had to egress on his own.
No weapons.
No, he killed that dude with his hands.
Yeah, that is crazy. I can't believe that's real.
It's intense. Even talking about it right now, I feel that lump in my throat. You know, it's so intense. And anybody who's a parent will feel this double fold, because any human being with any human emotions will feel. But we know there's some pieces of shit out there that don't feel anything, because that's how these things come about. These things happen because there's a lot of scumbags on this planet. A lot of people that we refer to as oxygen thieves.
Yes.
And,
I don't have kids, and when I first sat down, because nowadays you have your assigned seating, so there's like no one else in the theater. Everyone showed up like last minute, but there's like two old women, and I'm like, oh, well, this is weird. Like, there's no one else around, but I'm sitting next to these two old women. But they were so sweet, and the one directly next to me, she's like, "This is my third time seeing this." I'm like, "Hi, what?" And then she has the tissues in her hand. She goes, "If you need some, I have extra." Like, I'll be all right. I appreciate it. But then, like, there's a couple of times where you at least
I blubbered 3 times in that movie.
There's multiple times where you like, if you're trying to be a man, I'm sitting there, I'm like, nope, not gonna cry. And I did until the end. And it was, I feel right now, even when she sees her brother and then they hug, and that was when waterfalls. Couldn't stop it. That was
intense.
God. Yeah.
It is a tough film to get through. It's tougher for parents, and it gets even tougher for those of us who have had kids kidnapped and gone through that period of, I don't know what's going to happen. Will I ever see my kid again? And then you start hitting the reality that if I do the wrong thing, I'll never see my child again.
Yeah.
And all of that shit was coming to the surface watching this movie. All that shit I went through with Zoe. It was intense. And but I got to tell you, the fascinating thing for me is all of this came about because of one guy's comment at the beginning. His partner looks at me and says, "Man, I can't keep doing this." And he's like, we're doing God's work kind of thing, and he's like, how many of those people have you stopped? He goes, we busted, and he says the number
100 something.
Yeah, it was a big number. And he says, how many kids have you saved? How many kids have you recovered?
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
And that's when he realized, I'm doing this wrong.
Yeah.
I'm doing this wrong. And I fucking love that moment.
Absolutely. Yeah, they set that up perfect. This is such a the movie is so incredibly well done, and it's shot so beautifully too for such a low budget movie. They clearly took such great advantage of the practical sets and using real life streets and everything, and to save the money the way they did, have amazing photography, amazing actors and actresses. Everything about this movie was so great, and then they did. But yeah, hitting on the emotional strings and everything about it. I'm not a movie expert, but at least I have an understand these things. This is just a great movie, a great movie.
And I want to point out, for all these people saying all this negative shit, we could call them racist because the writer-director of this film is Hispanic.
Oh, of course. Oh, so yeah, you can't criticize anything that's done by people of color.
Well, it's I love the left media because they conveniently forget the race of Hispanics the moment a Hispanic kills a black guy. Then they're white.
Oh yeah. It's clearly a white supremacist. The dude's from Mexico.
He's Mexican. You can say that they're not white until they kill somebody who's not white.
Oh, you can drive a U-Haul into a fucking White House barrier and be an Indian dude and have a Nazi flag all of a sudden appear.
Right? They're crazy. The left media is insane. That's why I don't bother watching. But Alejandro Gomez Monteverde is the writer-director of the film. He is, I'm trying to see, I think he's from Mexico. Yeah, he's Mexican film director. His first film, Bella, which I've seen that film, won the Toronto International Film Festival. And I like his films. He did Bella, Little Boy, which I've seen. Little Boy, very good film. Sound of Freedom. And then he's got another film coming out next year called Cabrini, which I'm looking forward to.
The producer is also Mexican. He used to be an actor.
So all these media types and people in social media are being racists and not liking this film and saying shit about it.
Was
Let's
he the
call
one?
him on it.
Yeah, of course. But of course they don't care either. It's the same reason why what's his face, who was running for governor when Newsom got the recall vote, he was black, but then they just turn around calling the blackface of white supremacy.
Well, look, there's nothing more insulting than calling somebody an Uncle Tom, which they do this constantly. And what's ironic is every single person that does that has never read who Uncle Tom is or his story. And they don't understand how wrong they've got it. It's sort of like when people use the phrase, look a gift horse in the mouth, which you know what that is from, is the Trojan horse. So yes, you should look a gift horse in the mouth.
I actually never knew that.
Yeah.
That's the first time I realized that.
There's a lot of turn of phrases. There's a lot of turn of phrases that are used that actually have the opposite meaning of the way people use them. And just a plethora of them. And it's funny because people don't know the derivation of something, and they hear something said and they go, oh, well, Uncle Tom is a great way of calling a black guy. It's like with American Indians, when American Indians get mad at another American Indian for being too Anglo, they call them apples, red on the outside, white on the inside. And it's, every group has this, and it's fucking insulting to do.
Of course it is.
And
it's racist.
It is. And people go, well, it's my race, I can do that. No, you can't. I mean, you'll get away with it because we have a freedom of speech, but you have the right to also be called out as a fucking racist for it.
Yeah.
That's the wonderful thing about America is, you know, yes, you have the freedom to say shit, but everybody around you also has the liberty and freedom to say shit back to you.
Oh, the bigger problem is that we have a media that will protect them.
Yeah.
Not just protect them.
I'm just disgusted with the media right now. All I can bear right now, I could tolerate even Fox News for a while. But when the sons took over and the daughter took over, basically I saw the shift to the left with Fox News. And that's when you saw O'Reilly go. That's when you started seeing it. I don't know how Hannity is holding on there. I don't like Hannity at all. For me, he's a Republican apologist. I don't like Republican apologists.
Yeah.
Because I think the Republican Party is full of shit too.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but some of the time. And I'm just conservative, which means that I don't have a party I belong to. I'm just conservative. And I believe that I'm a libertarian, which you and I've talked about this before, Adam, that a lot of people don't understand. Libertarian just means that you have the right to fucking live your life. You have a right to pursue happiness. We believe in liberty. That's where libertarian comes from. We believe in liberty. We don't call ourselves the Freedom Party. We call ourselves libertarians because we believe in liberty and the exercise of that liberty. And we see a constant encroachment on this. Like every single time a new law is created, where laws were already broken, but they think that if they create this new law, suddenly it'll change everything. All you're doing is empowering who?
The criminals.
The government.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving authority
the same thing.
to the government.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same, but not the same. Because I agree with you that there are a lot of criminals in office. But when the government holds the power over you, who are they afraid of?
Yeah. It goes back. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. a lot of things was just said that really when it breaks down, like one of the statements was giving power to the government, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans. You look at what George W. Bush did. There's still so many Republicans who love him. All he did is the exact same thing that Obama was doing, just in a different way, giving more power to the government.
All presidents before him and all presidents after him never spent as much money on AIDS research as he did during his 8 years.
Bush?
Period. Bush.
Really?
George W. Bush spent more on AIDS research than all the previous presidents and after combined.
Is that when Fauci really get his power?
Fauci, man, he's been around for a long time.
No, I know, but
if you look back, he's the guy that was there during the outbreak of AIDS, and he got his shit wrong, and nobody fucking remembered him for that.
He said that AIDS was like airborne even, and like kids would get it. Like he said something like kids were getting AIDS because of stupid crap like eating cereal or some shit like that. No, they were getting AIDS because their mother had AIDS. That's where they got it from. The guy was a complete fucking idiot. He claimed that he had to go to bathhouses. He did research going to gay men's bathhouses to research AIDS. The dude is he was a fucking phony this entire damn time. And you're right, nobody ever called him on it.
That's what you're he is. You're a big
Family
fat phony. So we got some comments, and I want to say hi to everybody. We always make sure to talk to our chat because they're the best. We got Penny in the house, Anima Confusa, Love of My Life, Andy Morrow, Dragon Ruse, Joe's Atmosphere, Cam's Crash Courses is here, Adrian Philip Missiano, and Lady V Elements. And let's get some of these comments here. Comment numero uno is Lady V says, "You ain't free, shut the fuck up." And hey, Wednesday weirdos. No, I've always go back to George Carlin. He says, "You think you're free? Go to the store and try to walk out with that food, see what happens." Well, in California, they'll get away with it. The rest of the country, you're going to get in trouble. That's called shoplifting. You're not free in this country. You have certain freedoms, period. But what we have is liberty. And liberty is the thing we got to cling to religiously, because that is what makes us a free people.
Well, people always get mixed up about what the Constitution really is. Constitution isn't granting you rights; it's protecting your God-given human-born rights.
You were born with those rights.
Yeah, it's not granting; it's protecting. That's why they want to get rid of the Constitution.
So many politicians on the left and right think that they're the governors of freedom, and no, that freedom is infused in our existence. Here we go. I saw SOF twice. Took an elderly church lady the second time. Did you leave her? Loved watching her cheer when the children were saved. Yeah, it's sort of like, I mean, in a more realistic way, the end of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, when the slave kids were all freed.
Yeah. But my entire theater, even though I didn't see the movie until you mentioned that we might talk about it last week on my first show here. So Tuesday night,
I don't know if I can watch this, man. I'm like, watch it.
Yeah. Everyone was telling me to watch it. Everyone on my channel was telling me to watch it. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. And but then, like you said, you want to talk about it. And you're like, fine, I'll fucking do it. And so, but it was a good while after the movie had been out already. But I went on Tuesday night. The theater was completely packed. And after the Jim Caviezel speech at the end, the entire theater fucking clapped. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is fucking amazing. This is America coming back, is what I started to feel like when I was there.
Well, the problem is we've been quiet, and this is. You know, it's a fact about conservatives. We tend to be very conservative in our behavior too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and but we're hitting a point where we're getting sick and fucking tired of people trying to ruin everything. They want it their way, and it's like sometimes you got to pick those kids up and you got to put them over your lap and give them a good swatting on the ass. People will say, "Well, that's abuse." You're probably a leftist if you said that. I'm just going to tell you. I had my ass beat. I deserved it. I earned it. Now, I didn't spank my kids for punishment. What I would do, like when they were very little, is I had a practice of putting my hand on their belly and giving a pop on their diaper, because it was the sound. It was sound and action
Mhm.
and voice of disapproval to let them know they just did something. And you're teaching them something. You're actually teaching. The point of doing that is to teach them.
Mhm.
But I actually did spank Zoe once, and I lost my shit over that because I got angry at her for putting me in a position, because I had tried every conceivable punishment. She had lied, and lying is unacceptable. She didn't understand why it was so bad, because her mother was an inveterate chronic liar. She had mental illness, and she would just lie the way people breathe. It was weird. And there was no purpose or reason behind it. It's just because, and I was terrified for Zoe with that genetic makeup that she could end up with that. So honesty became really important with her. Honesty should always be important, but it was extra important with her. And so I did everything. I emptied her room out, dude. I took everything out of her room. She had to ask for clothing. She had to ask for her pillow to sleep on the floor in a blanket every night. And then I would take it out, and then she would have to ask for it again. I said, when you understand that lying's not going to get you where you want to go. And I thought we'd gotten over that hill, and then she did it like a week later again. I busted her for it. And she's always wondered, like, how on earth do you know when I'm lying? And I finally told her. I said, you're an adult now. I'm going to tell you. And I gave her the secret of how to know if she's lying. I said, you're going to use this exact same skill with your kids. No eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, looking away while talking. Not just no eye contact, but looking away as you answer. It's a good sign. Not being able to come to the answer quickly, but hemming and hawing. Good sign. Peripheral speak is another big sign she's lying to me. That's where she talks around a subject, then talking about what I just asked her. I gave it that name, by the way, peripheral speak.
Mm.
Because I thought that's really what it is. You're talking around a subject, then about the subject. And so I caught her lying every single time. And so now she knows the secret. So when she has kids, she's going to know how to do it. But I took her in that room, and I made her bend over, and I took a belt, because I will not touch a child with my bare hands if it's not a hug or a commending pat on the head. I think that's violent. So I gave her a swat on the ass, and she never forgot it. And she cut that lion shit out.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're right. I mean, that everyone says it now. This modern generation is just a bunch of kids who just never been spanked. They have no concept of discipline whatsoever, and they just get whatever they want. They cry
and consequence.
Exactly
for actions.
Yeah.
They'll just get away with everything. And I thought it was funny. I was watching a video where a kid was just spouting off, and the other dude just turned and just knocked him the fuck out.
Yeah.
And when they came around, person says, "You learn?
Yeah.
You learned something today?"
It's the same thing. I came
There's
out and said
consequences for your fucking actions.
Yeah, it's like like the people in Germany. They're so sick and tired of these eco warriors now blocking traffic that they're done. There's so many videos coming out now. People just get out of their car and just beat the shit out of them and drag them by their fucking hair off the fucking road. And it's what these little fucking children need. They need a fucking spanking.
This is that generation that didn't get punished, doesn't understand punishment.
Yeah.
They got a trophy for showing up.
Yep.
And they're finally getting that jolt of a lifetime. That shit doesn't fucking work. Well, they learn either it doesn't work, or they think, well, we got to try harder and become a bigger group, more powerful. Because they're wanting to become bullies. It's really what they want, because they use bully tactics with everything they do.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
These organizations, these groups, they use violence, and it's sort of like the joke on the left being, this is the love and peace group, right? Oh yeah, only when it's with our superiority is there love and peace. It's like somebody said to me about Islam once, because I have no problem with Islam past some of the fundamental beliefs. The same thing though with other religions too. I've had problems.
I have no problem with them except for the overall fundamentals of their organization.
The fundamentalists are the problem. The ones who go to the book and they ignore the fact that, they don't ignore it. They accept that Muhammad, had a 9-year-old daughter, or wife, and waited until she was like a year older.
11. Yeah, it's
11.
like married at 11, consummated married at 9, consummated at 11.
Right. It was just weird, and let's not talk about that. But I don't want to criticize them because there's a lot of weird shit even in the classic Old Testament. And like a bear coming out of the mountain to kill a bunch of children. I mean, that's in the Old Testament. And I'm like, that clearly is not historical Bible. That is an allegorical story meant to teach children of the time to shut their fucking mouths and don't make fun of the elderly. That's all that had to do with. There's no history to that, past that. But, there's just stuff in there that has always bothered me. And one of them is that if they're a non-believer, you can lie to them, which is the opposite of what we were taught as, growing up Christian. We're taught to be honest with everybody. But in Islam, it's actually, they're told that they can lie to infidels and there's no sin committed in doing so. So there's just lots of weird shit in that stuff that I've always had problems with. And but then you look at the left again, embracing Islam, forgetting Islam is Islamic nations that are Islamic law that follow Sharia law.
Sharia.
Yeah.
Are the ones that abuse women, children, and gay people.
Yeah.
Or people that are gay or trans. They'll kill them.
Oh yeah, throw them off a building.
Yeah, throw them off a building.
Yeah, bury them up to their necks and throw stones at their heads. It's, I mean, the
and
thing
we're
is,
the bad guys here in this country because
yeah.
I want everybody to find their happiness in their life. Just don't tell me how to live my fucking life.
Hey, boss, we have Pops in the house, and look at his comment.
Biblical bear. Actually, Cocaine Bear 2 should be based on that biblical story. Killing children.
Or the bear in the Chinese zoo,
Right.
who is clearly a guy in a bear suit.
That is really fucking weird, though. The way that its ass skin wrinkles like that, like it's an outfit. It's really weird looking. Have you guys seen that?
I have no idea what you're referencing.
Oh,
get it, Martin. Get it for him. This is photos of a what do they call those? The tall bear,
the sun bear.
Sun bear. Thank you, because it's got that tan fur right here. It's
Okay.
standing upright, shot from behind, and it's got a very human-looking butt and wrinkles over its ass.
Okay.
Skin, and it's like it looks really fucking weird.
Yeah, it sounds really fucking weird.
Now, I don't know if it's a guy in a suit or not.
No,
but
it is a
looks
guy in
really
the suit.
weird.
The proportion of the extremities. That is a guy. Oh, it may be a woman. Sorry. It's a human in a bear suit.
Well, we want to keep on talking about this. Have you seen that video game scene where a dude fucks a bear?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, no. Well,
Baldur's Gate.
first of all, Super Troopers has the
Yeah,
greatest
Super
bear
Troopers.
fucker I've ever seen.
Well, of course, that became the meme. Is that there's the scene in the video game where it's really weird. This dude fucks a bear, and then of course they mesh that with the bear fucker. Do you need assistance?
Do you need assistance? I'm good. Whoa. Anima tried to watch that movie, but she could not take it. She is too silly for her.
I grew up in Vermont, man. That movie is supposedly seen, that's supposed to take place in Vermont. You would not believe the amount of pride we all took in that. Especially, I was in high school at the time, and I was a stoner myself, so that was like the best movie ever.
I've always liked
schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
The scene with those guys at the beginning set the standard for police comedies, in my opinion. It really did, because the troopers are fucking with these potheads.
Yeah.
Okay, I have the pictures.
All right, get it. Pull it up.
You see it?
No, you gotta
No.
share it. Put it up on screen. There you go. I'll do it.
What the fuck?
Well, that is the more convincing one, because look at this, man.
That's the one I'm talking about. It looks really weird, and it's got the wrinkles over its ass, and it really looks like a guy in a suit.
Look the proportion of the extremities.
The thigh,
the legs.
The
the
legs. It's standing straight up and its back is arching back. I've never seen a bear do that before.
No, that is a human.
I mean,
Nobody can convince me otherwise.
I mean, again, maybe it's because like we've never seen a bear do that. Maybe that's why I don't know.
We'll
I have no
eventually
explanation
find
for
out.
that.
We'll eventually find out what's going on with that. But
They could have
speaking on
spent a
that
little more
subject-
on the bear suit. I mean, they could have taken that guy's the guy that turned himself into a collie, taking his dedication to the craft.
You talking about like some little fucking puppy play weirdo?
Oh,
yeah,
no.
He spent.
Yeah, the guy with the collie suit, that
Yeah.
it's between different articles say one says 14,000, the other says 20,000. Either way it goes, someone is an extreme furry to do that.
Yeah.
It's really freaking weird. So I'm going to add this to the stream. This is what we watched earlier today. Is it showing up yet?
You had the little thing spinning. It's trying to load.
There it goes.
Oh, I saw this. Yes, the Babylon Bee skit.
Genders are there? 672. It's hard to know, really. It's changing all the time. So, your species is evolving that rapidly. Remarkable. Perhaps while you are sitting here, you will grow additional limbs or develop the ability to breathe underwater.
No, that's not what we meant.
It's too bad. So, what are these genders and how do they function?
Function? I don't understand.
Why, yes. On my planet, the female gender is the giver of life, raising and nurturing our young, preserving our civilization for eons to come, while the males mostly just mow our space lawns and make multiple trips to Space Home Depot.
What you're talking about is sex. Gender is something different.
Exactly. People can identify with genders different than their natal sex or with none at all.
But why?
But why?
No! It's the way we're born.
Well, of course, a lot of times they don't realize how they were born until someone tells them. Someone like a teacher, social media influencer.
Oh, I understand. On this planet, there are people who are men, and people who are women, and people who are mentally ill. How many gender?
Isn't that brilliant?
So, okay, whoever the hell that mentor has it, fuck that guy. That is a Babylon Bee skit. Some dude fucking stole that and posted it as his own thing. That's from Babylon Bee. The whole thing is you got to watch it in its full context. It is fantastic. One of the best.
Well, I got to tell you, the Babylon Bee is so good. They're better than the Onion.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
I've always said that Onion even did their attempt at doing a TV show. Babylon Bee needs to do it on their own network. And
well, they do. Well, they have a podcast.
That shit's funny.
Yeah, they used to call it the Weekly Bee. Now they call it the Weekly Podcast, which I think the Weekly Bee was better. But yeah, I think that they should do. They should do a full on sketch show though. Like their podcast is great, but they need to do a full sketch show like that.
Absolutely, 100% agree. Because I find their shit hilarious. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play the trailer now for Sound of Freedom. And this shit's just such a powerful film.
I'm gonna get my tissue.
Go see this movie.
Yes. Oh, that evil bitch.
How'd that make you feel? Giving a child his freedom. Felt good. You have been at this for 12 years.
My country, 'tis of thee.
Why are you doing it? Because God's children are not for sale. It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen.
For Homeland Security, you know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
This job tears you to pieces.
And where my fathers died,
And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
land of the pilgrims
And yet somehow you have failed to bring me one real-world lead.
It's over, Tim. Close up and come back home.
So you quit your job and you go and rescue those kids.
South of that river is all rebel territory. No one goes in. What if this is your daughter? So, she's gone. Hear that? That's the sound of freedom.
Sound of Freedom is one of those films that can legitimately change this world. So we want to ignite a fire in audiences and open their eyes to the dark reality of millions of children that need our help. Let's make this film a historic event and the start, the end of child trafficking. Theaters across this country are already selling out. Pre-order your tickets today, and you can send the message that God's children are no longer for sale.
And as I said, if you can't afford a ticket, you can get a free ticket. Go to angel.com/free ticket, and someone will prepay for you to go.
Man,
I think that's wonderful that they did that.
Yeah, even that speech at the end, it was awkward. So at the end of the movie, for anybody who hasn't seen it, there's a counter that tells you special message coming up. Not a single person got up. Not a single person left that theater. Everyone waited, and it was uncomfortable because like you had to wait for a couple of minutes, and you see the counter, and it's like everyone's still sitting there silently, like okay, let's just get this over with. But when, what's his name? Caviezel, when he gave that speech, which is a part of what we just saw right there, it was so inspiring. That speech was so inspiring, and even him giving that speech had me welling up. Thankfully, I didn't cry that time, unlike earlier. But
I'm keeping it together, man.
I'm keeping it together. But even that speech was so inspiring, and I'm sure there's probably leftists who might have watched that and try to make the claim that he's only doing that to make more money to get people to watch the movie. But no, that was an inspiring
the film's
speech.
not making profits. All the money's going to good use.
Yeah. So it was, that was the part, like the entire theater clapped, and it was amazing, man. The entire experience was amazing, except for the shit that made me cry.
Studio, production studio. They we want to make enough money to make another film, is what they want to do. But the rest of the money is going into altruistic needs for these children and for these groups that support fighting against this crime against children. That is a global problem, but right here in the United States, and they state at the end of the film that the largest abuser of sex trafficking in the world, including children, is in the United States.
Yeah, because we have so many dirtbag, degenerate, evil people who have money to do that.
Somebody that cops would normally call scumbag, and we have a cop here right now. We have Patrick.
Oh, hi, cop.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Chief. Boss,
I gotta go. He found me.
We have a super sticker from Darius.
I got to head off to a doctor's appointment, but I wanted to chip in on this one because I really want to give some thoughts on this. I started law enforcement in 1983. I ended up starting working in West Hollywood in 85. And in West Hollywood, people would get off the bus, young people get off the bus, and they were picked off to do prostitution. And, we've had sex trafficking in the United States for as long as I was in law enforcement. But I want to say probably about 15, 20 years ago, and mostly driven by Republican politicians in my perception, because it was Don Knabe who pushed it locally. He was a Republican Board of Supervisors member. We started changing language on prostitution. We stopped looking at children and women, or even boys who were being exploited, young men, for sex as not a crime, but they were being exploited. And and that started changing the narrative. Then you started hearing, instead of it being prostitutes and prostitution, they started to be referred to as victims, and this was sexual exploitation, and that, of course, given with pimps, that ended up being sexual slavery. It's really shocking to me that the movie has been characterized as a right-wing thing, because it's neither right nor left. It's right or wrong is what this is, and it's wrong, right? And it's amazing to me, just because they don't like the pedigree of the people who made the film doesn't mean the message is incorrect.
Well, just so you know, when I say left, I'm not talking about liberals. I'm talking about leftists.
You're talking about extreme left. I mean, there's
extreme left, because they are the problem.
And classical liberals would be against this, but it's the far left who.
He's an example. He's a classic blue dog Democrat. He hates this fucking shit.
Their frustration is only that the people who made the film tend to be conservative, and so they have a problem. They don't want them to gain any credibility, because they're actually taking on an issue that is reasonable and appropriate. And I can tell you, the sheriff's department, which I am from, was the largest in the country. We always had a child exploitation unit where they would look at child pornography, and we'd try to get those guys. But very few local police agencies have that level of commitment, because it's a specialty. I mean, particularly since computers came around, you really have to focus and train and have the capacity.
You have to have someone that's not timid.
Well, you have to have plus you have the ability to have funding to cross lines, because this stuff is all over the place. You have to build partnerships with the feds to do it, to get if they're focused. And we've always had decent federal partners on this, because we're talking parents who are.
Can you do me a favor, Patrick, while you're here? Would you explain to our listeners what the Mann Act is? Because a lot of people don't know what this law is.
Well, that's transporting people across state lines for sexual purposes, I believe, is what that.
Which is part of what the trafficking falls under. Is the Mann Act.
And there is with the advent of the originally Backpage and things like that, and Craigslist, women and young girls and boys would get kidnapped and then be taken across state lines, and they would be marketed across state lines. That does happen. And I was really happy, because I arrested a lot of prostitutes in my day. We would do the sting operations, and as the language started changing, I agreed with that change. I was like, I agree with this. But I want to tell you something that happened in California, and this is how crazy this is. So one of the easiest ways for us to deal with people who are exploited is to be able to deal with them on the streets with as little investment as possible. So we have this thing called loitering with intent to commit prostitution, this law. And that allowed you to contact people who were flagging possible customers down, who were acting as prostitutes would normally act on the street. And you could intercede, and you can write them a ticket, and they'd have to go to court. And that gave them a chance to bridge them into services. And in this state, last year, they got rid of that. And it was Scott Wiener at the state level who said, well, the cops are just using that to harass transgendered women, which is bullshit. Because
Jesus Christ,
West Hollywood had a night where the transgenders would come out, and it's kind of a fetish thing, and they would be working the streets, right? And instead of exploring, and we had women's rights organizations who said, no, don't get rid of this law. Law enforcement has been a partner in getting women off the streets who've been exploited, and they did it anyways. White liberal guy does it anyways, says it's discrimination by law enforcement, and his response to is, well, they still have tools to get people off the street. Let me explain what it takes to actually make a case for prostitution, because I mean, I deal with it at the street level, or at least I used to. You have to have at least three people to work an operation. One is the John, and two are the backup, and you get the pitch, and then you make it. So that's three. When you're working the streets, you only need one cop to do loitering with intent to commit prostitution. Then you get them into services, right? So if we're going to take this serious, we need to use all the tools to save these folks. And unfortunately, in this state of California, we're not using all those tools. We label policemen discriminatory, or bad. We say bad things about them, say they're using the laws inappropriately, and we don't give them the right tools to do it. So I'm real happy that this movie came out. I haven't seen it yet. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. This has been going on as long as I've been in law enforcement. I can't believe that it's taken this long to capture the imagination of the American people about how bad this is.
Yeah, I wrote about it in my book, Vindicated. The first draft of it was 10 years ago. As of next year, it'll be 10 years. And it was a minor part of it. And then by 2018, I realized that's where I want to go. I don't want this to be about drugs. I want this to be about what the drugs lead him to in the story, which is sex trafficking. And it leads to, and if have I ever shared my book with you?
You have not, but I will say it's been my experience that every single person involved in the sex trade that I've run across was addicted. They had addiction issues, and that was driving their I can remember
the addiction drives the need for the drug, and the supplier of the drug is the person using them.
Young men who are not gay, but they're turning tricks, giving sexual favors for men for money, and so that drug debases you. And I think so. These two are interrelated. You really have to deal with it. But I'm glad to see that this problem is being taken more serious. We need to have more films like Sound of Fury, and we need people to back off and then listen to just what the message is. And it's frustrating that the far left is pushing back on it. And there's
I would actually disagree with that point because I was going to wait. I want to make my point though, but I would disagree with you on that because I think it's doing a great thing to call out the far left, and because they're showing their ass right now. They're showing their ass of what they really do care about, and what they care about right now is protecting their piece of shit fucking money people who are.
Well, you look at Meeks, that ABC journalist who said that Pizzagate was a conspiracy theory, gets busted for child pornography, and pled guilty yesterday in higher court. And who was the group of people that supported him and tried to cover for him? Rolling Stone magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whether it's a large conspiracy, organized rings, or a small conspiracy, meaning a couple of Johns pushing a small stable of girls,
there you go.
The conspiracy exists to exploit men and women, girls and boys, sexually for monetary gain or for just deviant, for their deviant and Puritan desires. I'm shocked that the far left would even dip their toe into the criticism here, and I'm glad that they're being called out on this stuff. This is one of those things that when you become a cop, there's things that bother you. When old ladies get beat up and hurt, that bothers me. When young children get exploited or hurt, that bothers me. Those are things that you live for and you want to deal with every single day. You remember those events when you were able to help somebody. Another robbery suspect is just Tuesday, right? But you remember those times that you were able to do something good for a child or a senior that was being exploited or taken advantage of or brutalized. So I'm really happy the movie came out. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I just haven't had the time to go yet.
Well, once you do, want to know your opinion. Let me know. Pop in here and tell us what you think.
All right,
not today, of course. I said you go right out and watch it come back.
I'll let you guys get back to your discussion. I'm sorry I interrupted there, but I did want to.
Not at all, Patrick. It's always good to see you, man.
All right, take care, guys.
Appreciate it, man. Good meeting you.
See you, sir.
Hi, Jeff.
So I want to get back to these comments. Joe's Atmosphere says, and I'll get to it, Martin. I will. If you don't believe evil exists, watch this movie. Get your head out of the sand.
Yep.
Killing is too good for them. They need to suffer in prison. I actually agree with you. That's why I'm against capital punishment. I'm also against capital punishment because I know that our system is the best in the world, but it's not perfect. And there's too much of a chance of mistakes being made. So I don't believe we should be in the business of killing people.
Well, I don't think we should be in the business of giving them a very peaceful, unpainful death. I think they should deserve pain.
They need to be in prison. Hard time is what it was referred to as. It needs to be that.
Yes.
Look, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have air conditioning, but I think they should have that shitty air conditioning that keeps it right at about 72 degrees, 73 degrees. Not cool, but like where you're like, oh man, it feels like if I move from this spot, I'm going to start sweating again.
At the very least, No fucking TV, no internet, nothing entertainment whatsoever. I can't believe our taxpayer
If they get
dollars
TV,
pay
get
for that
crap
shit.
TV, like
They
local
but still,
TV only.
But they also get computer time. They get to go on the fucking internet. No,
That's
fuck
something that was
They should get
unheard
a
of
single.
before.
They should get a single fucking deck of cards that they can fight over. That's what they get.
Or turn into weapons.
Yeah. Fucking turn to Gambit. They're throwing cards at each other.
Joe's Atmosphere again says, that's why I haven't seen it. I know that side of the world exists. Hard for me to watch. It's hard for a lot of people to watch.
So, dude,
it is,
bro. Like, so I can't remember if I explained it, but I went through executive protection training where some of our instructors actually were part of one of these organizations that went over and saved kids from this, and they told us stories that tore me apart inside. I listened to these people and I communicated with them directly who were a part of this, who they would explain that they go through like an entire month process of having to reestablish themselves after going through this terrible experience, and so that's the reason why I didn't want to watch. It's just hearing those stories alone tore me apart. But thankfully, Gerry got me to fucking watch it, and I'm so glad I did.
Fuck you.
I'm giving you some credit here, asshole. Fucking take it,
Gerry.
Gerry.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
I know damn well you get that a lot. That's the first time I've made that mistake. Come on.
All right, so
you have a very weirdly spelled name.
Yes, and
Gerry,
but it is the original spelling of Gerry. It is the original. Gary's Munchausen, the $4 super sticker with his pair with a cup of coffee, because this is the morning shows, and he gave us $4, and for that $4, you get this shit.
Where do they teach you to talk like this? In some Panama City sailor want a hump bar? Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
So thanks again, Darius. Deeply appreciate you and your support. Let's see. We get to Laszlo Panaflex, Lady V Elements. It's free on YouTube. And that first intro scene of Sound of Freedom was rough. Yes. I was already choking.
Yeah.
My emotions. It's tough. And by the way, I don't know. Do you have kids, Adam? We've not talked about this.
I don't have kids, and that's one of the things I was going to say earlier. I don't have kids.
Blanks?
No, it just never happened. There may be some out there in Italy or something. I don't know.
You're not adept at banging women. Gotcha. Okay.
Like I said, I spent a lot of time overseas. If I've got kids out there somewhere, I'm doing well.
That's what I told my daughter Zoe. She goes, "So you got 3 kids, right?" I said, "That I know of."
Yeah.
I was in the military. So Pops, there's over 150 million now. That's for the movie. Wait.
Yeah. It's $150 million now. Yeah.
To pure profit right now. Movie was great. I'm glad to hear that. Good to see you, MK Ultra hiking in gear.
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Did you steal him again this week?
We had a crazy experience. Him and Sheila came on my show last week, and it was a little. MK had to take care of her. I'll just say that.
Did she have an episode?
She had a little drinky drink.
Oh, drinky drink. I don't know. Movie theaters.
I don't do
together like sardines in a dark room. I like to go at odd hours, so it's not like that, Lady V. My favorite thing to do is actually go to morning matinees and not the ones in the early afternoon. For a long time, that's all they did from 12 noon on. But then some theaters got smart and started opening in the morning. I'd go in the morning. There's hardly anybody there. I like it. It's quiet. The only time that ever feels weird, and I had this happen, I went to see a Bill Murray movie. And it's Mr. Bean movie. And there was a scene in there where I actually started laughing out loud. And I was the only person in the theater, and that was really fucking weird. Because you go,
I went and saw the last Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. It was only like a few weeks into it, but the movie was so bad. I went on Tuesday, and I was the only person in the theater. I guarantee the people who ran that must have hated me. The fact they had to run that entire movie and spend all that money on electricity just for me alone to watch this terrible fucking movie.
It's a lot cheaper now because they don't have a projectionist anymore. There's no union employees at the movie theaters anymore.
Still, though, that's still a lot of electricity for the air conditioning, the
It
lights,
is.
the projectors.
They did not
Gotta be
make the
pumping a
money
lot of
back.
electricity.
Yeah, for the electricity used for you to be housed in there.
Yeah.
You didn't make enough for it. But I will say this: even if you weren't there, they would have done it because they have to do it. They have to stick to the schedule because otherwise they can get busted if they get found out. Dragon Ruse is here. Joe's Atmosphere, Cam's Crash Horses, Adrian Philip Messiano, Lady V Elements, Pops is here. Laszlo Panaflex, Spartan Flash Sentry.
Hey, Spartan.
MK Ultra Hiking and Gear Review. FKHC 2005, aka Tim. Zax, aka Kyle. And John Ostains. It's been a while for Ostains, man. Where you been?
Yeah.
We've missed you, man. Good to see you back. I wish there was a video for every single human being that comes to see our show, but we have a video only for one specific person.
Hey, fuck you, Kyle.
That's right. That was for you, Kyle. So he doesn't miss the senior special at Denny's.
Yeah. You had already gone past it. I was going to mention when you were talking about capital punishment. I disagree. I firmly believe in capital punishment. In fact, I think these
so if
animals,
you find out that somebody was executed who wasn't guilty, you'd be okay with that then? Okay.
It depends on. It depends on.
No, it doesn't depend. Look, man, this is why I'm against capital punishment. There's too much of a chance of that happening, and it's not worth the risk. It's not. To kill an innocent human being, it's just not worth the risk. And prisons are made for these motherfuckers, and they should never see a moment of daylight outside that fucking prison again, period. Death row should just mean you're going to be put in the worst part of the prison and never be allowed out with the regular population. Yeah. Period. That's what we should do. We should house these motherfuckers till they die. And they should rot in prison for their crimes, not get off scot-free by getting. I mean, according to religious beliefs, they accept Jesus Christ and ask forgiveness of their sins. The minute you put them to death, they go straight to heaven. That bothers me. I think they should spend a little bit of time suffering.
Yeah, they need to live in hell here on earth before they.
And that's why, John, I'm sorry. I mean, I get it. You're for it. I'm not, man. I'm not for that reason.
I was going to
say,
say,
it's not a Catholic religious reason. It is because we fuck up too often. Our system is flawed.
Well, I was going to say for these animals, I think they should be lowered slowly into a vat of acid.
I agree. I agree. Very slowly.
I believe hard labor should be brought back. That's what I think. And they should.
I think we should just like every single day load them into a little bit of acid and then pull them back out.
And in 20 years, you will have the ultra woke saying, "Oh, you shouldn't use that road because it was made by pedos."
Look, man, it's hard enough sometimes. Like, I love audiobooks, okay? And I found out some of those audiobooks, the unabridged ones, were read by one of the most prolific serial killers of the 70s. And it just really bothered me that I probably listened to hours of this guy talking. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? It's the dude with the mustache. They had him in Mindhunters TV series. He's one of the main criminals that they would interview and talk to understand the psyche of a serial killer. And I will tell you about this guy, that he was killing these girls, but he understood that there is something wrong with what he was doing. He understood it, and he didn't like it. And so what he did, he figured out it's all about my mother. So he murdered her.
Okay.
What he did to her afterward was insane too. But the fact is he was trying in his mad mind, in his insanity, try to find what's happening with him. And then he himself went and made sure he was arrested and stopped so he wouldn't do it again. And his name is Kemper, by the way. It just popped into my head. Kemper stopped himself. And he could have just gone on getting away with it because the cops liked him. He was a likable, affable guy. The cops thought he was really great. They couldn't believe it was him when he turned himself in. They're like, wait, what? Yeah, I killed my mother and those girls. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. You know, Ed Kemper, man. Look that fucking shit up. Ed Kemper audiobooks. Look it up. Think I'm fucking kidding? That shit's freaked me out when I found out.
Real quick, I want to say hi to Sheila. I hope your hangover is gone
here?
by now.
Is she here? Yeah, there she is. Sheila Aliens.
How's that hangover?
Hi, Sheila Aliens. Look, man, I don't drink. I stopped drinking when I was 35 that way. I had one last fucking hoorah party, and I had 2 small bathroom-sized trash cans next to my bed full of vomit.
Oh,
When I got
God.
up, and both my feet were off of the side of the bed. I was sleeping with my feet off the bed because it was spinning when I went to bed, and I remembered it. I'm not one of those people that was gifted with the blackout. I cannot get that drunk. It doesn't humanly happen. I remember every fucking detail, and that's why I decided the next morning I'm not ever drinking like that ever again, and I haven't since. I just won't do it. It's just like, it's not worth it. I like getting tipsy. I like getting tipsy. But gone were those days when, like, because I'm a competitive drinker. I don't know about you.
Competitive? Fuck no.
Go up against the guys. I can fucking drink more than you. Fuck you. And we go at it. And the last we were doing beer bongs, you know, where you pop the hole in it
Mm-hmm.
and you drink it that way.
Yeah.
I had chugged I beat him by 2 beers and 2 shots. So I drank 4 drinks. I beat him by 4 drinks. But when I took that last beer, chugged it down, crashed that can and went to throw it. And as I'm throwing it, I'm like, why is the room moving away from me? And it's because I was falling backwards. I lost my ability to stand upright. And I hit the floor, and I remember hitting with a thud going, what the fuck happened to the room? And it took 4 of my friends to carry me out of that house. I was a muscular dude, not heavy, no fat. They had to carry me out. This is just before I went in the army. They had to carry me out, and they couldn't get me in my girlfriend's car, Patty. Patty was there for this, by the way, Martin, my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, Patty. She's just laughing hysterically because they couldn't get me in the car, so she had to open the sunroof and they had to lower me into the car. But I didn't go into the car. I stayed up on top like some sort of movie star waving at people.
Oh my God. That's next level drunk for sure.
I was hammered.
Shockingly enough, I've only been blackout drunk once in a few years now. It's been a long time, and of all times,
you get blackout drunk.
Like I said, I've done it maybe a couple times since getting out of the army, and it's never intentional. You never mean to get that drunk, but of all times, the last time it's happened in years was on YouTube shortly after I got my channel monetized, and it's actually Sheila's idea to start trying to get super chats for us to take shots. So I started off with $20 super chats, and we'll take shots. And over a half a bottle of whiskey later, I was blackout drunk on my channel on Skinamax Saturday, giving oral sex to my microphone, doing all kinds of shit that I do not remember, and I will refuse to go back and watch.
Oh, goddamn.
But I made a lot of money that night.
I bet you did. That microphone was pretty happy too, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. So be sure to check out Skinamax Saturday on Vets Talking, everybody.
Sheila Alien says, hail panel in chat, and we hail you back. Oh, to hell with you.
Hey, didn't see this in the house.
We have Lady Vion says, the thing about making live with the guilt or love, I guess, love with the guilt or pain of inflicted punishment is the risk of escape.
Making them live with the guilt or pain.
There are people on death row that have escaped, so that's
just
an invalid point. It's potential with anything. Let's see. Was his name Norman Bates? John says, I agree with Das Wolfen on capital punishment. I so wish we had a pill, shot, or surgery that could cure those deserving. I hope we can. And, I understand your sentiment. I used to feel that way too. But we have seen situations too many times where somebody that wasn't guilty was found not guilty later due to DNA or whatever, and then you have to hold on your conscience that you wished ill on that person. And it's like, look, man, I believe in the justice system, but I always still question afterward, because that's why we have that set up to where people can come back later and try to, overturn their conviction, And if it's a good, solid conviction, yeah, but then you get some of these people that absolutely were not guilty. The Robin Hood Hills kids is a prime example of a miscarriage of justice, that those boys were found guilty, sent to prison, but they weren't the ones who did anything. It's believed that one of the step parents did it. And, but because they signed the Alfred plea deal, the state no longer is considering it an open case. So they'll never convict the actual person who killed the little boys. They're never going to convict them. And that's what's wrong with our country. And that's why I don't trust capital punishment to be a viable means of punishing somebody. I do believe in an eye for an eye. And I used to say, look, if this person actually did it, the family of the victim should have the one shot and only shot at ending that person's life. They should put that person in a room like they do with that famous image of a monkey with a table around its head, and they hammer the head and then eat the brains. That's what the family should be given the opportunity to do, is have that person on a table like this and be given silver mallets and go in there. And it's like, if you want him dead, you do it.
I approve of this.
I think there's some people who will fucking do it. And you know what? I consider that justifiable homicide.
Absolutely.
To a
100%.
point, until we find out that guy wasn't guilty. Then it's like, you arrest that family then because they killed the wrong guy.
Of all times, actually crazy. It was just this morning I woke up and I looked at X. It's not Twitter anymore. I looked at X.
It's
and
really fucking weird. So I've been
really
Xing all day.
I've been, yeah. Did you notice that the word retweet, it says repost now? Did you see that? Yeah.
I'm happy with that because I never liked Twitter or tweets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I can adapt. Yeah, especially I think it's really good to take away the history and what people believe of Twitter, because so many people say they'll never go on Twitter because of how bad it is. Yeah, it's a rebrand. Yeah.
Rebranding works, man.
I don't trust Elon Musk though, and what he wants to do with that platform, making an all-encompassing everything thing. I
would trust Elon Musk with just about anything, but like my girlfriend.
Yeah,
that's about it.
I just all around I don't believe everyone's thinking that everything he wants to do is altruistic. I think he actually does. I think he's I'm not going to get into it. I'm not getting into it. But the point is that I saw a video on one of these.
You're a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, aren't you?
I am. Yeah. Oh yeah, I am. There's tinfoil under this hat. No, I watched the video. I know what the video was. It's the old video where a perp is being walked out. I think he's coming out of the courthouse, and a dude who's at a phone booth turns around and pops him in the head. And what it was the
father
of I think this dude molested his daughter, and
it was a martial arts instructor. It was his son, and he was sexually molesting his son, and he got arrested, and he's being transported. And in the middle of the transport, he found out about it. To a cop friend, and he showed up at the airport, pretended to be on the phone, and as they're walking by, he's watching. He dropped the phone, turned around, and pulled out the pistol he had, and shot him right in the fucking head.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. And the tweet and the post was
that guy was guilty.
Oh yeah, 100%. But the post was, should this man be condemned or rewarded or praised? Condemned or praised? I'm like, well, definitely not condemned.
Forgiven.
Yeah, but I mean, you should definitely
do that. They can forgive people for their actions.
Yeah, but I mean, no doubt. I mean, you should definitely not condemn him for that. You can't blame the guy for wanting to kill the man who did that to your son. You can't condemn him for that. Now, should he be praised? I don't think you really should praise an action.
Respected, possibly admired to a certain level, but praise should never be brought into that.
No, but definitely not condemned.
But not condemned either. No,
yeah, absolutely not.
Spartan Flash Sentry says, Gerry, competitive? Who's competitive? I'll show you who's competitive. Rips off the top of a keg.
I actually have a keg in here somewhere.
I remember one time back when I was in fake college, okay? And we were going to have a keg party that weekend, a kegger. And we had a full keg, okay? And there was this guy from Eastern State Mental Institution that was right off the grounds from us. And they had outpatient things. They just wander around, these people that were patients there. Why they were allowed out? Because we had meetings with the hospital going, you need to keep these people inside and away from the students, especially the females here. But this one showed up and he seemed like just the nicest guy, big monster of a human being. And he grabs that fucking keg and throws it on his back like this and just walks it up the stairs for us. Because we're fighting over how we're going to get this upstairs because it was a real pain. If you've ever carried a full keg, it's
oh,
a
yeah.
pain in the ass.
Dude, I used to bar back.
This guy did it by himself, okay? Hand to God, this happened just like this. We said, hey, is there anything we can give you? Some money? He goes, I want a cookie. And we're like, okay. And it was a cookie, chocolate chip cookie. So we're like, I don't have any. So I went to Martin, my roommate, Mangy, who we're still, I'm close friends with this guy to this day. He's like, I've got Oreos. So I asked him, would Oreos? He goes, chocolate chip cookie.
Thank you.
And he started losing his fucking shit because we're all
Really?
in the room looking for, nobody had a fucking chocolate chip cookie. He's fucking losing his shit. And we're telling him, calm down. We're going to get you some chocolate chip cookies. We're doing this because we're fucking terrified of this guy.
Damn.
And I looked at him, I went, I could hit him really fucking hard and I'll probably just hurt my fist. So I'm like, I don't want to fuck with this guy. I'm looking at like his wrist was like, really, this guy was not normal. And so we had the fastest one of us run to the 7-Eleven about 3/4 of a mile away and back and got some chocolate chip cookies for this guy. Gave him the whole thing. Just give it to him. Fuck off. Jesus Christ. And that was what led us to our meeting with the doctors there at the Eastern State Mental Institution. We're like, you can't let these guys out. They're fucking scary. They freaked everybody out in the hall. People were terrified. Oh, we're so sorry. Like, so they were told not to go to the dormitories. I lived in James Blair Terrace. Is part of the off-campus dormitories. And I liked that freedom. But again, I want to point out, it was fake college. I was not an actual student. Mangy's roommate never showed up. He asked me to move in with him. I said, fuck it, I'll do it. And I got to bang different girls. It was nice.
Hey, there's always a plus.
And I'm in the yearbook for that year, class of 1983 at William & Mary. If you go in there, you'll find a photo of me for theater department because I was in a play.
I thought you were going to say you were in there for a record of banging most chicks.
No, I wish. No, there were a couple of guys I knew. Like the guy that lived next door to us is he played for William & Mary's basketball team, and his name was Gerry Funk, but his nickname was Slam because he supposedly slam dunk, and so they called him Gerry Slam Funk. And every dorm room, had a whiteboard on there with a little pen hanging from it to write notes to each person. So like one night, Martin and I could hear him just fucking shit out of his girlfriend. And so like before he got up the next morning, I said, hey man, heard you last night. Now I understand where the nickname Slam comes from. Because he didn't know who wrote it. He erased that and he left it on there. It's because I slam dunk in basketball, asshole. On his own whiteboard. I'm like, whatever.
Slam that badge.
So we got more comments. We got Pop Culture Minefield. You've been hitting the booze again. I wish. I haven't drank. I had a drink in a while. I did. When Scott had the big cookout weekend, I had whatever it is that he made. It was a watermelon and strawberry daiquiri thing. And he mixed everything that he had in bottle into it. And it was pretty strong, and it was pretty good. That was the last thing I've had. But I only drink one drink. I just don't drink anymore the way I used to. I don't want to get drunk.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you ever want to introduce super chats or shots, I'd be down, but I don't know about 10 o'clock in the morning.
Not at 10 o'clock. If we do a night show sometime, we'll do it then. As
right.
My history teacher said in high school, they should make them turn small rocks into big rocks. Yes. I had a history teacher who said the same damn thing. Oh, man. He was a great teacher. Yes, Lady V says we need more pyramids. Chain them up. Boom, baby. And Laszlo Panaflex says conspiracy theorists become more and more vindicated every day. There's no shame in that title anymore. There's a little bit of shame. But,
nope. Fuck you. No. Alex Jones is now like 90% fucking right, dude. You got to admit it.
70. I'd put him at 70% when it comes to conspiracy theories. Because I do find it interesting that he had talked about that shit back in the 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
And he had that specialist saying these things, the vaccines and all that. And now shit's coming true.
Yeah.
But when the minute he starts talking about 9/11 or the shooting at the school, I won't fucking listen to him. He pisses me off when he talks about that shit. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Okay, but if you want to just focus on the stuff that's been wrong and ignore the stuff that's right, I mean,
What did I just say? I'm good with the other stuff. The minute he starts talking about those, I turn him off. I won't listen to him.
But it's amazing that even mainstream media has to admit now that even they're turning the frogs gay thing, they're looking and they're realizing he wasn't fucking wrong. There's actually chemicals in the water that are turning frogs from male to female or vice versa. He was not wrong. He's 100% right.
Ostain says, I think Musk suffers from an acute case of narcissism stemming from obscene wealth combined with some sort of Asperger's or other spectrum disorder. Look, he's just a nerd who got laid a lot. That's what he is. And that goes to your fucking head. If you're a nerd that finds out that having money gets you laid. And I don't think it's narcissism. He strikes me as your typical Asperger's when I listen to him talk. I love it when he calls people out for being stupid in public. And he's done it. And I've caught it. And I'm like laughing my ass off going, he nailed that bitch. And not in a fun way. What's this one? Slow drip of truth, but it all gets sorted and verified eventually. Yep. And give Mongo his cookie. That's what he was. He was like Mongo from Blazing Saddles. That dude freaked me out. But even Alex Karras had nothing on size with this guy. There was something very Shrek about this guy. And I remember when I saw Shrek, I'm like, that reminds me of that fucking dude that wandered into our dormitory and carried that keg up 3 flights of stairs. That's not human. Spartan, who's narcissistic? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Passed by a mirror and lost track. Roger that. Self-absorbed bastard. But Alex Jones is one of those people, and I like it. I've watched him like when Joe Rogan has him on. Joe Rogan is somebody who even he had some weird fucking conspiracy theories. He is toned down a lot. I would not say he's toned down all the way, but he is toned down a lot since he's gotten older. And the older we get, the more toned down we become, except for Alex Jones.
No, even he has toned down on a few things, especially like the thing about the school shooting. Yeah, I mean, he backtracked on that completely. The unfortunate was there was a lot of information out there, a lot of really weird shit. I'll tell you what, like the one video that really had me thinking this very well might have been staged is the scene where you had the father who's getting ready to go on stage, but there's a camera on him backstage where he's back there laughing it up, even belly fucking laughing, and then the second he gets announced, all of a sudden you can see he puts on his fucking actor face and then goes out.
That's just weird.
It was weird as fuck, man. I'll tell you, that video right there was the one that made me think there's something wrong going on here. Now, maybe he just he does flip a switch, but there was a lot of weird shit about that Ian Jones has come out and said, okay, I was wrong. It's just a lot of weird shit at the time made me believe this.
Gallows humor aren't like that. You know what I'm talking about? Those with gallows humor aren't like that.
The thing with that dad, yeah.
That's just
so you even
weird.
Saw that video. So you saw a video and said there's something weird about that.
Yeah, I remember it now. Like there's something wrong with him, is what there is. There's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lady V says, I think he's just strategic. Staying in the mind has outward consequences. I'm sure he loosens up when no one's watching.
Talking about Alex Jones?
I think so.
No. I think.
Elon Musk.
Okay, yeah.
And then last one is by Laszlo Panaflex. Gary is right, though. You've got to maintain some skepticism. Look, skepticism was bred into my generation. I grew up on Scooby-Doo. There's no such thing as ghosts and monsters. It's always somebody wearing a mask. It's always a person doing something. We're raised on that. I'm very skeptical. I'm not cynical. I'm skeptical, and there's a world of difference. I kind of got off. I went off on a friend. He's really well known. He's on TV, and I pointed out that every single time that he's on TV, he's brought on as the in-house skeptic. I said, but you're not a skeptic. You're a cynic, because you automatically assume it's not real You're not being skeptical. That's not being skeptical. Being skeptical is questioning what you're saying. And is what I'm seeing what
Which
I think I'm seeing? And we should
all
really
should
look
question.
into it before we do it. Whereas he comes at everything with the doubt, which makes him cynical, not a skeptic. And people need to know the damn difference.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical. And I don't want to say his name because I don't want him pissed at me. Even though I've said this to his face, with him not being here, I don't think it's fair. I mean, you agree? I shouldn't say his name.
No, I wouldn't.
But he's on a lot of UFO paranormal shows, and he's on there as their in-house specialist and skeptic. And he'll say something that you hear that kernel of truth in what he's saying, but he's not considering all these other things when he's going into it. He's only focusing, hyper-focusing. And this is my problem with cynics compared to skeptics is a cynic becomes hyper-focused. Skeptics try to keep the broader image.
Well, and I wouldn't even go so far as to use the word skeptic. It's more just to be rational and have an educated process in your thinking. To the opposite side, you know,
It's
like
critical
if you want
thinking is what you're talking about.
critical thinking. If you want to look at, you know, the extreme conspiracy theorist type people, the one you really think of the nuts, those are the ones who will believe whatever they hear because they want to believe that this kind of stuff exists.
Yeah, it's like the ones that say that 9/11 was controlled demolition, and I'm like, have you ever seen a controlled demolition? How much work goes into that?
Okay, but we're not going to get into that because we're not going to get into that. I'm not going.
Well,
I'm
that's
not going
not
to
how
go there.
controlled demolitions works, and I know that. And I'm just telling people that believe that. Now, I'm not saying anything about the pilots because I believe the government failed with those pilots, and somebody was aware what they were doing. I do believe that. But I'm not going to go with controlled demolition because that's not how controlled demolition works.
But my point is when we're talking about like, you know, like skepticism versus, you know, rational thought and everything is like, to use the example of Dugway Proving Ground, which I'm going to go on Sheila's show and I'm going to talk about it, and I would like to come on the UFO show on here and talk about it because I trained at Dugway Proving Ground. If I didn't find until afterwards that it supposedly is Area 52. Like there's a belief that ships are being moved there and they're doing stuff like that. Now I would like to talk about my experience there and what I saw, but I cannot confirm or deny if there's aliens there because I didn't see anything like that. I can say that I saw some really weird shit that there's a very weird, very secretive base. I can talk to that aspect, but I'm not going to sit here and make any claim one way or another if there's aliens there because I'm rational about that. I'm not going to assume there is.
Confirm or deny that some of the people you served with were weird as fuck and could possibly have been aliens.
Yeah.
We had this lady from Pakistan. I remember her just so vividly. And she would get so angry at us Americans all the time during training. And the one time just blew my mind. You and your chittering and chattering. I said, you're trying to say chit-chatting. What you're saying is wrong. Chit-chatting is what you meant to say. And no, we're not going to stop. Fuck you. Then we went on doing it. She was a weird lady. There's a lot of weird people. You meet some weird fuckers in the military. People go, you know, they want to thank everybody for their service. And I turned to one lady when she thanked me. I said, you know, I'm going to give you a little secret. About 25% of the people that I served with were fucking assholes or weirdos.
Yep.
And
assholes, degenerates. Yeah.
It's okay to be skeptical on who you think. Make sure you look at them and that they're not one of those people that maybe got kicked out.
Yeah.
Or forced out, you know, because there's a lot of those fuckers out there.
Okay. I'll tell us really quick. So we had a BLM protest here in 2020, you know, after the George Floyd shit happened, and here at Lake of the Ozarks, not a big population here, so it wasn't big. But the person who organized it, he was an extreme leftist, but he was a good guy though. He even came over and he talked to a few of us who, you know, we talked about how we were in the military, and he thanked us for our service. He was very nice about that. And we actually had a pretty decent conversation. We disagreed on a lot of things, but he got to a point where he said, but I think that we can all agree that all cops are bad, right? Like, no, motherfucker. Why would you even assume that? And I didn't say motherfucker. I was very nice about this. I said, like, look, you guys on that side of the street might believe that, but over here, we don't believe that. You thank me for my service. Well, guess what? I'm thinking about becoming a cop. Now, does that automatically make me bad? And on the flip side, do you think you thank me for my service? Do you think that everyone who's in the military is a good guy? Because I'll bet you anything, there are a lot more worse people in the fucking military than there are in police.
It's just like in real life, man. You got assholes everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You've got assholes in the military. You've got, I'm going to say, grapists in the military.
Yep.
You have career criminals in the military.
Yep.
And I remember a few years back, I wrote while I was in college, I wrote an essay on explaining where people were wrong, because they were trying to base this theory that grape was what do you call it? What's the word they were like? It was a pandemic,
Systemic, or
no, pandemic. They're saying there was a pandemic of rape.
Yeah.
going
Rape
on
culture.
in the
Rape culture is what they're calling it now. They're calling it rape
and
culture.
I said, look, any group is a microcosm of the greater macrocosm. Okay, so you have the military, and all it is another example of what's going on its society where it came from. So anybody from that society goes into that military, they take what they have from that society into the military, and so now it's part of the statistics in the military. And I said, grape is exactly the same number as it is in society. It's no different. It's not rampant. It's not some sort of outbreak of insanity just in the military. It grows systemically the same way it does in society. Crime.
But it's much more likely that it's going to get into headlines, and there's going to be a focus on that.
Well, it's the whole anti-military thing with the media.
Is that too?
And now the military, you saw that this morning. Actually, it's been happening over the last couple of weeks. Now with things heating up, and because of what we were joking about in our group, that I can't remember who posted it, but that it showed an article. It might have been Bush McFadden that sent it to me. Your cousin. And and it was an article that showed that enlistment is up, and there was this big thing. Army Times was bragging about how enlistment was up, and they were showing where the enlistment was and how that their scores have gone up 1,500%, and all this great shit with their AFTs, and just all this cool shit. And it's like, wait, is it? Oh, this isn't regular Army stuff. This is POGs and RIMS. Infantry is not included in that, because the minute they include infantry or any of the guys boots on the ground, that number is going to drop drastically. Enlistment has been down, and that's why they keep doing backdoor drafts by getting guys that are in, making them keep coming back and do multiple tours, which is insanity. You should not do that to a human being.
Yeah,
and they're doing that. And not letting these guys out and get their fucking retirements like they deserve, And so enlistment is down with infantry. And what do? They keep going even further left, thinking that somehow this is going to address the problem somehow. And enlistment, it gets lower.
No, you're
all the guys that you would normally enlist with those military ads are like, oh, it looks gay.
Yeah, no, they've got a bunch of fucking leftists who will never join the infantry. They'll join some support element, So I mean, we're gonna have a whole lot of fucking lefties and all the support elements who never want to even pick up a fucking gun, and then there's nobody who wants to actually shoot. Yeah, the real people who we need, the real badasses out there, are not want to join with this fucking I joined the military because of my two moms and also the fucking bullshit.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But liberals are not the problem. And I keep telling people, and I'm glad Patrick brought that up. When you hear us talk about leftists, we're talking about the extreme left. We're not talking about Democrats. We're talking about people who claim to be Democrats who are leftists, and they're not Democrats. They're leftists.
We have breach.
But this is what we're talking about, Zax, is that now all of a sudden you see the media who's been against the draft suddenly want to draft. Why do they want to draft? Because they know that we're probably going to get involved with that place that we're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah. Wait until they
will gank us if we say the name.
Yeah, wait until they get real fucking equality and the women get included in the draft, and then they start getting picked up. Yeah, that shit's gonna stop real fucking quick. All this equality bullshit.
Yeah. So they're wanting to get this draft back. You watch what happens if they do that for this place.
Well, I saw the order. I think that they're initiating the what's it called, the inactive reserve. And thankfully, I'm not even on that. I'm not even on that anymore.
If you are
ready reserve,
individual ready reserve. Yep. And I'm not even on that. Thankfully, I had somebody.
My last 4 years were in the IRR.
Yep. Yeah, I'm well past that at least. So I mean, I'm at that point now. You know, I saw somebody drop a comment on my video because we talked about Trump on that last video, and I'm 41. I'm also medically ineligible. They can't. I'm 100%
with the
disabled.
brain damage, right?
Yeah. Well, I do have headaches. Yes, with the brain damage, sure. I got 2 concussions when I was in. But
were you concussed?
I was concussed. It was really stupid reasons too. They're actually pretty funny stories. But yeah, I saw this idiot on there try to attack because we on one of my comments try to say, oh, well, you support Trump even though he was a draft dodger. No, he managed to get out because he had school or some shit like that. But if you look back, like every single president that was in the Vietnam era all got out of the draft. Every single one of them did. Bush did for different reasons. Clinton did. They all did. So to try to attack Trump because he managed to get he was ineligible for the draft because of fucking college or some shit. But I'll tell you what, when you're in a situation like that, people did not want to go to fucking Vietnam because we shouldn't have been there. I can't blame people, especially if they can have a good legal way to get out, for wanting to get out of that. If I was in a situation right now where I could be getting drafted to go to what you're talking about, I would find a way to do it too, because there's no way we should fucking be there. I don't want to go fight for that fucking bullshit
in that place. We don't belong because they're trying to build this up into World War III is what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but for you,
ooh,
Kyle,
that sounded like a conspiracy theory, Gary.
Shut up.
Gotcha.
So look, I'm going to tell you something. There are conspiracies, and I talk about them all the time. The problem I have is when people attribute too much intelligence to conspiracy. And I'm like, you realize you're talking about some of the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. The only true successful conspiracies are the ones where everybody got killed, except for one. That's the best conspiracy. You'll never fucking find it out. But the stuff that's going on right now over in part of Europe, that stuff, it's blatantly obvious what's going on. There's money laundering going on. There's politics involved because the government that our country seems, or our government is supporting, is New World Order government. Yeah, New World Order, NWO. That's what that guy is. I'm not going to say his name or his country. I will say Biden, because I think Biden's a fucking dipshit puppet. Just fuck, man. Jesus Christ. What a mess. And he's a criminal. And it's clear he's a criminal. His whole family's criminals. But I felt that way about Bush. But in this case, they're literally criminals.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've committed actual financial crimes.
Yep. They are.
But I can't stand the Bush family. I can't stand them.
No.
Jeb Bush, George W. GW.
They're all up there too. I mean, they're all a part of the same group. They're all shaking hands. The same damn reason when Trump was running for election.
He's Obama's best buddy now.
All of a sudden, they're best friends. Yep, the Clintons, Bushes, and Obamas, all best friends all of a sudden out of nowhere. Imagine that.
But they all hate Trump.
Yep.
Wonder why.
They all have the same handshake, and Trump don't do that handshake. That's the reason they don't like him.
Have you ever seen him when he shakes somebody powerful? Shakes their hand.
Oh yeah, he really gets in there.
He reaches this way. He doesn't do this. He reaches this way and pulls them towards him.
It's a power move. Yep.
It is absolutely a power move, and I love that about him. And it's sort of like I always use the line from The Dark Knight. He's not the president we want. He's the president we need. Because I think he's a complete asshole. I've never personally liked him. I couldn't stand him, to be honest with you. He's got that typical outrageous loudmouth New Yorker accent that just bugs the shit out of me. It sounds like he's just about to say, "We're the best in the fucking world, yo."
But I think we talked about this last time that he's an asshole, but what he really is, he's a good leader, because leaders need to be assholes.
Good boss.
Yep.
And back when the Clintons weren't even supporting gay marriage, do you know who was? Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump's a big advocate for gay marriage.
Yep.
He has always been ahead of the curve. He's been slightly left of center as far as I'm concerned. But he said back in 1986, they asked him if he ever ran for president. He says, "I'd probably run on the Republican ticket." That's what he said. Because when it comes down to it, he is a sworn capitalist. And, and it's within that capitalism that he has certain forms of conservatism within him. And so that's where he's conservative, is through his capitalistic beliefs. And I think that his wife has kind of pushed him to be a little more conservative religiously. I think that's where that comes from, because she's devoutly religious. And
I did not know that.
She is also the first lady that I would absolutely spank it to. I would.
Oh my God!
Have you seen that picture of her posing on that jet engine? I was like, she's got some nice humps. I'm telling you right now.
Oh yeah,
she was naked and fucking hot, and I'm like,
she's a babe.
She's no Mimi Eisenhower. she's no Betty Ford.
She's the only first lady in modern history. Yeah, only first lady in modern history that you didn't see all over every single fucking magazine cover. Yet we had Michael over all, best dressed, most beautiful, everything. But yeah, it's again, once again, showing the fucking ass of modern media. That to try to claim that I keep on saying Ivanka, not Ivanka. What the fuck is her name?
Melania.
Jeez, I didn't have my coffee today, everybody. I had a fucking pre-workout for my fucking caffeine this morning because I was running late. To claim that Melania is not like the most gorgeous woman out there as a first lady is just, again, showing the media's ass.
Yeah, it just makes you look stupid.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the same mindset for the new Snow White film. They've got the girl playing Snow White, and they've got Gal Gadot playing the evil queen. And they're going, the evil queen is jealous of Snow White's beauty?
It makes no sense.
What?
Gal Gadot is
gorgeous. And the girl playing Snow White, I wouldn't kick her out of bed, but come on.
It's nowhere close to Gal Gadot.
No. It's just fucking goofy.
Yeah.
It's Minnie Mouse, we used to call it Minnie Mouse, which means it's fucking goofy. Minnie Mouse fucking goofy. Get it? Minnie Mouse is fucking goofy.
Yeah.
Adam needs fuel up. Yeah, he's getting kind of.
Yeah, caffeine is one thing, but everyone knows it's got to be coffee. You can't just put caffeine in your body. You need that smell, that taste. You need coffee.
Are we talking coffee or jizz? What are we talking about here?
Oh my goodness!
What you do on a Saturday night is up to you, man.
Right.
I won't ask.
Now, by the way, Anima keeps asking me, goes, is it really all that homoerotic with the humor in the military? I said, there's a lot of gay humor in the military.
You hang around some Marines, dude.
Army did it too, man. I was with an infantry unit, man.
The Marines are so much
gay
worse.
Jokes about each other.
But dude, the Marines are so much worse. That executive protection train I went to.
Good men.
Yeah. The EP train I went to, there was two. Almost everyone was military. There's only one guy who wasn't. It's like 15-person course. 2 of us were Army. There's 1 civilian. Is 12 or 13 Marines. They're fucking. I must have got fucking dry humps so many fucking times in that course. It was so fucking weird, dude. They would
that's weird to me. If somebody fucking touches me, there's a problem.
They're like, I had another one I worked with. We were doing wood cutting, and we had to hold this board while this guy was trying to do a precision cut, and this fucking weirdo just moves his hand over and just starts tickling my hand. Like, you fucking faggot! I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. My bad. I shouldn't have fucking said that.
Hey, stop it. Stop it.
For those of you watching right now, Gerry does not support or condone some of the language we use, so we apologize.
Thankfully, we're not on there right now.
Army veterans, yes, we are. We are Army veterans, and
shit.
we have horrible mouths and say things. Often, our filter is so quick sometimes. A little slips through the filter and it goes.
Yeah,
shit.
I do greatly apologize for that. I should not have let that slip.
Don't worry about it, man. Look, I got to tell you, one of my favorite things in this world, and I don't think I ever want to stream live again gaming. And I'm more apt to mute me while I'm gaming, because I will say things that 17-year-old me would say, because the guy that's gaming is 17-year-old me, and that lives in my head. And I will yell things at people, because in gaming, you probably know this very well. You will say things you would never say in normal conversation to anybody, even with your closest friends. Yeah. It just comes out of you. You get angry, raging. You rage, and I will call someone the double F. And you know what that is.
Yep. I know what you mean.
And I will say the first word, fucking, and followed by the second word. And then I'll go, oh my God, I'll cover my mouth. And I've done it live streaming. And I'm so grateful that the game was so loud, nobody heard me.
Nice. You got lucked out on that.
Yeah. Because it usually happens like right after a big gunfight. And because it'll, like I did it the other night again. That the FF came out of my mouth. Because look, there is a, what they call a ping rate when you're playing. And you can get what's called, I think it's called peekaboo, or it's really weird. It's not cheating. It's not cheating. It's where you're a millisecond difference, a full, like you are 0.56 milliseconds. I'm 0.56 milliseconds behind. Okay. And so whatever milliseconds he's ahead added to my negative gives him that much time to look at me before I see him, before it registers on my screen. And I've gotten nailed with the highest I've gone is 0.56.
Raising
millisecond ping. And I will yell when that happens, because I'm like, how the fuck did I got the first 3 hits on this guy? And then I remember, that fucking thing. It's the game sort of cheating for the opponent. The game cheats for the opponent. Instead of making sure that everybody is in there at the same time, taking into consideration the ping rates, they allow that extra time for the opponent to see you.
The goddamn robots, John!
So let's get back to some of these comments. I got started 10 comments. Natural skepticism leads to investigating. This requires an open mind. And of course, and what we brought up is important. When I said critical thinking is what makes a good skeptic. Somebody who's really skeptical just simply is good at critical thinking. You have to be a critical thinker. And here's the funny thing: to be friends with me, you have to be a critical thinker, because there's no stay, there's no keep between the two of us. Like if you're not a critical thinker at all, our friendship won't go very far. You're a critical thinker though, because I've already had conversations with you.
Yeah.
And so you and I have a good future as friends. We're probably going to grow. I'll make fun of you for being a conspiracy theorist, but then we'll agree with you on some of the conspiracy theories, because I do know they exist. I'm not a.
If you can just break away from the stigma of this idea of conspiracy theorists, and I think we can do even better.
I've been
you've got a
these
stigma
9/11
there,
people
obviously.
for too long. I started dealing with these 9/11 people, and they started pissing me off. Moon. Okay, I can't even be friends with somebody. The minute they say we didn't land on the moon, we can't be friends.
Yeah,
because that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
So again, with that one, that's another one. You can just, if you can do some research on it, I think that there is. Here's the thing: I don't want to get into a discussion on it, but I will tell you this: there's a lot of evidence. I do believe that there's a lot of footage on there that's not real, but I do believe we went to the moon.
Yeah, but they don't know what they're looking at. These are guys who don't know anything. They're trying to be critical, but they have no knowledge that goes with it.
Right.
And I've heard the arguments like, why does the flag wave? First of all, it's not waving; it's rippling.
Well, the flag is a stupid one. That one doesn't make sense.
Because there's no gravity. It's got 1/6 the Earth's gravity. So, and there's no atmosphere.
Yeah.
So it's going to just do that, ripple. And lighting is another one to get fucked up. No, that's not true. You're not taking into consideration reflection. Direct reflection of sunlight has an impact.
Yeah.
And they're dumb. They don't know anything about light reflection, light refraction. They don't know anything about gravity and atmosphere. So why are they even doing anything? It's just a bunch of stupid people who don't have any degrees in science talking about science. And those of us who studied science get really fucking annoyed with it. I spent my entire life focusing on sciences. That's all I've done. And so I could sit down and can talk to a person about particle, I can talk to them from relativity to astrophysics, and I can work around my conversations with them because I have just enough knowledge to have a good conversation about it because I understand it. What the horizon, the event horizon is on a black hole, how it works, how it doesn't work, how one theory, the old theory, is now in conflict with a new theory on how the event horizon works, which is why I defended Strange New World Season 1 when they went into the ripple of the event horizon to hide from a Gorn ship, which annoyed me, but it didn't annoy me what they did. And they said, well, that's not how an event horizon works. I said, that is how it works with the new theory. The new theory that's a predominant theory in physics.
And see, and that's how science actually works. Science is fluid. Science changes
science
with the
fluid,
addition of new information.
It depends on new information. Exactly.
Yeah,
that's why when you hear people quoting science and then speaking resolutely on it,
the science is final. We know that this is what's happening with the jab and all that. Science is not like that.
Exactly, Adam. The day that scientists agree on things is going to be a scary fucking day for me.
Yeah.
And they make it sound like scientists, and they have this thing now that they use, and catch it, watch it when it happens. Experts.
Yeah.
They don't use scientists, specialists. They say experts. Immediately, don't trust that information.
Yeah.
It's a lie.
They're probably talking about somebody who's saying this on CNN, and they consider that person to be an expert.
It's agenda driven. It's agenda driven. Yeah. And but if you talk to scientists, like climate scientists, I was trained by top ice climate scientists, and we were taught the opposite of what they try to tell us is what science is now with climate. I said, first of all, no time in history has the CO2 levels ever had an impact on the temperature on the planet, ever. Well, but now all of a sudden it does because your needs. Got it.
But in history, they do find in history, though, with the core samples and everything, showing that there is a correlation of increased temperature along with CO2, but it's always an increase of the temperature first, which raises the CO2. It's a counter effect because of the heat. Yes,
the heat increases, life increases. The more life you get, the more you get of gases. It has nothing to do. It's not correlation is not causation.
Right.
And that's the first thing you're taught in science. Correlation is not causation. They're taking correlation and trying to say it's causation. It's like, that's bad science. And
I would say that when the entire Earth heats up like it has been now, and you can also see that there's a lot more activity in sun, there's some correlation there.
Hold on. Hey. Let me explain something to you right now. There's one thing on that impacts Earth, and it's climate. And it's over 95 to 97% impact. 95 to 97% impact. It's one thing. And it's called the fucking sun.
Mm-hmm.
In 1978, an article was written for Climate Magazine. Okay. It was published, and it caused great regret in the guy who approved the publishing of this letter. Because in the letter, it was the first time mentioning of greenhouse gases. And 1978, because it was he believed theoretically that if all humanity came together, if we went into a mini ice age, because that was the fear that we were going to go into another micro ice age.
Yeah, back in the 70s, yeah.
What we got was actually, because the sun's a fickle bitch, okay? The sun dictates what happens to us, not CO2, the sun.
Yeah,
the sun decides what's going to go on. The only things that impact our atmosphere on a major level are volcanoes. And volcanoes are very rare. When they do happen, they create their own volcanic winter, okay? It happens. But eventually it goes away, and people have survived almost each and every major one. Yellowstone, if it ever erupts, I don't know. That could kill about 70% of all life. It could, because it's the largest volcano in the world, and it's past due. But when we hit the 50s, the 1950s is when we should have had our micro mini ice age, okay? But it didn't happen. But what did we get? El Nino. El Nino came about, and it happened at the same time, that 100-year cycle, as the mini micro ice age, okay? Well, that's just the sun going, just as soon as you think you can predict me, I'm going to do something else because I'm a woman. The sun is a fickle bitch. and it will do what it fucking wants to. We don't dictate.
I think you're gonna love this.
Yes. Only a few of us understand that Falcon in the MCU wearing a blue suit is not such a great thing. Who can respect a blue Falcon?
Never respect the blue Falcon.
You know what I always thought was funny? We call them Blue Falcons when we just should have called them Bravo Foxtrots.
Well, I mean, but it makes it more fun to call it Blue Falcon. The same thing,
for those
like
of you with no military background, it just means buddy fuckers.
Yeah,
these are the guys that are out for themselves, and they'll fuck over any friend to get where they're going. And the way we get rid of those guys, Blue Falcons, is we promote them out of the platoon or company, and they become somebody else's problem because you can't fire anybody in the military.
No, but you can put them on shitty fucking details and make their fucking life all hell.
You can write them up, give them court martials. You can try and kick them out of the army.
Yeah,
but good luck with that.
And, go Blue Falcons. The same thing. Like I always love licking chicken, which for those of you don't know, when you're on the radio and you want to say loud and clear, you would instead say Lima Charlie, which is the Fanatics. But instead of Lima Charlie, we like saying licking chicken. I'm reading you licking chicken.
So, okay, I want to get to these before we go. We only got a few minutes. Spartan Flash Sentry says, I remember that shit was dark. I don't know what that was in reference to. That was a while ago. Then there are the individuals that intuitively agree or disagree. Are they just saying they're contrarians? Let's see. I love Scooby-Doo. Yes, those days. Now I'm thinking it was Old Man Martin in a mask responsible for these hijinks. Zoink. Yep. It was always a person in a mask.
Did you guys watch it? Did you guys watch that Velma show at all?
What one?
No.
Velma, the new one with the fat black Velma. I tried watching it, and the point that really pissed me off more than anything else, and it's amazing no one else caught this, is that Jinkies, Zoinks, and all those other fun words, they made them into drugs.
It's so insulting.
Yeah, they had drug dealers, and Jinkies was a drug. It wasn't their catchphrase; it was a drug. That's how fucking terrible that show was.
Gary's call about the next war. This is our buddy those things again. Is probably correct. The fact that Britain spoke English was important to the last big war. For this century, Russia is white, and after we have it, China's next. We've been in an economic war with China for a while. Also a small one with Russia. Russia with Trump, and when Trump was president, Russia stayed in line, and we got along with him just fine. But the minute Trump was out, man, he just starts messing with us, and that's just fucking embarrassing. Or a deployment grade RIP energy. I don't know. Oh, okay, yeah, like for caffeine. Got it. Hello data. Quit snorting cocaine.
Yeah, somebody was talking to me about Rippets the other day, like because they were all at the PX and everything, especially if you were on deployment. I don't remember ever having Rippets. I got really pissed at me. I'm like,
I don't know even know what Rippets are. I know what Whippets are. I don't know what.
No, Rippet's like a caffeine drink, like Monster Energy or something like that.
I remember Jolt Cola.
Oh, yeah, it's a brand of Monster drink. I've seen it.
Okay.
By the
I've
way,
never had it, but
I have brought this up before that my favorite drink, energy drink, store that you could buy at the store was Bang. And I mean, it was really good. They made this peach mango one that really tasted like peach mango. It didn't taste like the processed chemical flavoring. And it was really yummy. And I got a good kick from it. I would split my big tall can to 2 drinks a day. I'd pour half of it in the morning and drink the other half in the afternoon. And I did great on that, man. Had me going all day long. And I can't find it. And I got really upset. Like, why is it? Because Walmart was the big distributor for Bang Cola or Bang soda. And so I go and I ask them, and even they were like, I don't know what happened. So I went and I looked it up, and come to find out, Monster has been making a bid to buy them. They went under. And they were trying to reformat and come back. And Monster made a bid for them just in the last few months. And there's no news as to where it's going. And that's sad, because those Monster tastes funny to me. I can't stand Monster. But I love Bang, man. What a drink. Sometimes I just wanted to get a big bang in the morning. That's all I got to say to that. By the way, Bill Camp, The guy for me that stole the show is Bill Camp. He plays the dude that he meets down there in Colombia. That tells that story sitting there. He says, I was, banging this 22-year-old girl, and afterwards she looked so hurt and dejected, and there was so much pain in her eyes. And then as I'm looking at her, I realized she's not 22.
Oh, yeah.
She's not.
You're telling a story. Yeah.
And then he says, and then I realized the pain that's in her eyes is me. And it changed him. And that was one of those stories. It's like, here's this guy that was a depraved guy living in the gutter, just didn't care. He didn't even notice she was underage. And then it comes to him in this great moment of clarity. And it just changed him profoundly. If that dude's a real dude, if he's based on a real person, I'd like to meet that guy, because that's a guy who's seen the bottom and rose back to the top. And you got to love that. He's a great character in the film.
Absolutely.
Played by Bill Camp. And Bill's been in a lot of stuff that I like. He was in Lincoln with, what is his name? Got the Oscar for it.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis. He was in Birdman, 12 Years a Slave, Compliance. This guy's been in a lot of great films. People don't know this guy. And because he's a character actor. He hides behind whatever look he's going for in that film. But I know him because I've got, my dad and I both had an eye for character actors. And like one of the ones that hit him and me at the exact same time, we lost him recently, was, he played Hudson in Aliens.
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Because we both saw the same film and we talked later that afternoon. It's like,
That's it, man. Game over, man.
That's him. He played the part of the bully big brother in Weird Science.
Beat me to it, Adam.
And
you had that too?
Yeah, too. He and I saw that film the same day, but at different times, because we're elsewhere. I was doing other things. We saw it and we came back to talk about it. And we're like, oh shit, that dude's fucking awesome. And I started pointing out, I said, yeah, catch him, because he's easily recognizable. I said, I saw him in Terminator. I saw him in, not Raw Deal, Commando. He has a bit part of one of the radar guys in Commando. And I went, Bill Paxton. It's just, he got on our radar at the same time. I always loved that about my dad and I. We had an eye for really good actors that were going to go places. Like, that dude's going to go far. I like the way he acts. And Paxton, of course, one of my favorite roles, a lot of people forget he was in that movie with shithead Charlie Sheen called Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
He played God, the sniper. Do you remember that?
I never saw it.
I saw it once more than.
I cannot do another show with you until you've seen that movie. You've not seen Bad Driving until you see Sean Bean drive acting. Seriously,
wow.
He's jerking the shit out of that wheel while he's acting, man. Like, that car is not going in a state line, not the way he's driving.
It's amazing whenever you see those movies where they're doing that, they're like jerking the wheel around. It's like, have you never actually driven a car? Why do you think that's how it looks when you drive a car?
I don't know, man. It's so goofy. Hey, Martin, which one do we use for the outro today? Is it the new outro KGR PCM or the DMN rap? Which one is it?
I don't know. Whatever makes you feel better.
Nah, it doesn't matter then. If it doesn't matter to you, it doesn't matter to me. And if it matters to anybody else, apparently we don't care. So, but that's the end of the show, guys. I want to thank everybody for being here. Adam, a lot of fun.
Absolutely, as always.
I had a blast. This is a lot of fun doing the show. Been gone so long. Only just noticed one more slim, trim, Rohan Lord looking Dutch Wolfen. Oh, that's awesome. Good compliment. Thanks, man.
Thanks, John.
And lastly, I really feel for Hudson in Aliens. Look, Hudson was one of the best characters in that film. He has, in my opinion, the most glorified fucking death, yelling, fuck you and fuck you too.
Yep.
He's dying. They're pulling him down.
Fantastic.
Fuck you. I love his character. And then the only other death pass that I really liked was when Vasquez is about to die. And she looks at Gorman. She goes, you always were an asshole, Gorman. And then she grabs his hand and dies with him. I'm like,
yeah, as it holding the grenade. Yeah. Great movie, man. Great fucking movie. God, I got to go back and watch that again.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen that in a while.
We could do a watch party. It'd be fun. We should schedule something like that for a group of our regular followers that watch. They can jump in and watch a movie with us. We got to do it on a private server. We can't do it on a public one. They can join us by joining us in the studio and then watch it that way. But anyway, thanks a lot, guys. It was a lot of fun today. Thanks again, John. Your input today was essential to the making of this show today. He's been quiet. He did put his input about conviction and capital punishment, which again, just because I disagree with you doesn't mean there's anything negative about that. I just don't agree with that thinking. But anyway, I want to thank Martin for being here and being the right side of my brain, even though he did a really shitty job of that today by going, I don't know, maybe whatever you want to use. Doesn't matter. I don't care. No response, Martin? Nothing?
He got nothing.
Nothing.
I think he already went and fucked off.
Yeah, he's not even here anymore. He's on that 0.56 ping delay. All right, man. I'll see you guys this afternoon with UFO Wednesday. I think either this week or next week's the last week of UFO Wednesday. And we are officially moving to prime time. I'm not going to tell you the name of the show yet because I got to get approval on the logo. But we do have a new name, and we're going to be at Mondays at 7:00 Central Time or Eastern. I don't know, one of those. It'll be Monday nights. It's basically huge move. We've been asked by KGRA to take the show to prime time on Mondays. So
it's awesome.
Who am I to say no? Yeah. But you and I will be the only KGRA show on Wednesday, so that'll be cool. And we'll, thank God, have Chanel back next week, back to doing commercials. So, but anyway, everybody have a great Wednesday, and we'll see you this afternoon with UFO Wednesday. Done. I'll have John Brandenburg and Mark Center as a special panelist. It'll be fun. Join us.
Those sons of bitches. Ma, I'm doing a show.